What are some of the realities of the travel lifestyle that you need to be ready for? Is it as easy as just waking up one day, packing a bag, and going? Tune in and find out. Welcome to the How to Travel Full-Time podcast. I'm your host, Heather Markell. If you're dreaming of full-time travel or moving abroad, but stuck at the emotional, financial, and logistical challenges, this podcast is for you. I'll help you trade overwhelm for information that gets you from down and stuck to up and going. You can dream about the travel lifestyle, or you can live the travel lifestyle. If you're ready to live it, then let's jump in together. Full-time travel is not for everyone. It definitely is for many of us, but in order to have a successful time with it, you need to be prepared. So no, it's not about waking up one day, deciding you want to live the lifestyle, and going. Although I'm sure someone out there has done that, and well, good for them. I've mentioned before that many people looking into this life from the outside get the impression that we're on an extended vacation, living in the lap of luxury, and every moment is heaven. It's not. Like anything you do in life, there are some challenges that come with this lifestyle. So you have to be willing to put up with them in order to maintain traveling full time. So in this episode, I'm going to discuss some of those challenges so you have a more realistic idea of what you're getting yourself into. This is the episode that will help you decide whether or not the full-time travel lifestyle is really something you want to pursue. So here are some things that you can expect. First, unless you're traveling part-time, meaning you do full-time adventures for several months at a time, come back to your whatever your home is, and then go back out again, unless you do that, you are never going to sleep in your own bed. So while you may think about like, oh, when I go to the hotel, there's, and I go for a business trip or vacation for a week, it's great. Well, when you're living this lifestyle, and you are on a budget, you are not going to, unless of course you're independently wealthy, and if you are, good for you, but otherwise, you're going to be staying in all different types of places. There's going to be hard beds, soft beds, weird beds, all kinds of things. So you may come to appreciate your home bed a lot while you're away. You'll figure out how to deal with the bedding, but I have a neck issue, so pillows end up being the hardest thing for me. And, I've learned to adjust, sometimes even stuffing a pillowcase with clothes to make it work better. But it is a thing, right? You're never going to have the same bed for more than a period of time. You're going to keep changing beds, and it could wear on you a little bit. Another thing that's a reality of the lifestyle is that you will constantly be planning and packing. So you have to figure out where you're going, when are you going, how are you getting there, make reservations, and then you have to, of course, pack. So, if you're doing a vacation and you're going for a period of time and then you come back, that's very different, right? Or, it's hard to understand doing this for a living. So this is something that you can do. I know some people kind of start out the year or end the year planning out their entire next year's travel. I do it very spur of the moment. So I kind of pick a next destination. I figure out a place to stay for a small period of time, and then I wing it. And then there's anything in between. But it is a constant thing you're going to have to do, and the packing and the unpacking and sometimes living out of your suitcase, that is a constant thing in this lifestyle. Speaking of packing, you will always feel like you're carrying too much. over the years I've been traveling full time, I have adapted and learned to pack less and less and less, and yet still, I feel like even if I just carried like a toothbrush and a pair of underwear, it would still be too much. So it's just like this always annoying feeling like you didn't even pack that much, and yet it's still too much. As you go, you're going to have to figure out your ideal sense of movement, the pace that you change cities and countries. I know when I started, I went like every 3 or 4 days, I was going to a new city. And eventually I burnt out on that. And yeah, you can have travel burnout. It is a thing. So, I think at the beginning, I thought it was sort of a short-term thing. And I was like in this race to see as much as I could. And then I realized, wait a second, like I can slow down. I actually quit my job to do this. This isn't a vacation. And now I can go at my own pace. So you will learn your ideal pace for you. We're all different. Some people need a constant change of scenery and activity and, might stay somewhere for a week at a time. Others like staying for 1 to 3 months at a time. It's all different. And obviously visas and things come in there as well. And I'll talk about that in another episode. But the pace at which you travel is something you'll figure out by trial and error. And I do mean trial and error. So you may experience travel burnout. You may experience travel frustration, boredom, all those things. Now, friendship, I talked about how to make new friends. So the thing is, wherever you are, you're going to meet amazing people. But then you're going to leave. So it's a lifestyle where there are also constant goodbyes. And I've come to feel that when I end up like crying and feeling really emotional, like I'm going to miss the place and the people, that means I had a really special, extra special experience in that place. But it is sad. It is sad to have to constantly say goodbye to people, and the sense of community you have does shift. The longer you're living this lifestyle, the people that you considered your best friends from home, some of them, it may shift a little bit, right? Because they get used to living their life without you in it so much. And relating on the phone and Zoom is not the same as being in person. And clearly, some of your friendships are people that don't care. Like you can leave and be gone for 5 years and come back and it's like you were there yesterday. So those people will continue to be like that. And other people will just feel a little bit more distant naturally. So that is an adjustment that comes with this lifestyle. Another thing is you won't feel at home anywhere. So you're going to leave this place that you considered home. You're going to go plant yourself somewhere else, and it's going to feel cool. And it's this weird sensation of, well, I'm not a typical tourist, but I'm also not a resident, and I'm not from here. And whoa, it's sort of this strange feeling of, the sense of belonging gets impacted. On the other side, though, that you could live anywhere. So it's kind of a neat feeling, like while I don't feel completely that I'm home per se, I know that I can plunk down anywhere and make it work. So that's a very empowering thing. Now, if you quit a corporate job and afford the travel with your own work, the income will look very different. I actually created a program called How to Make Money Without a Job to teach just how different this is, right? Because if you're used to this reliable paycheck that comes every week, month, 2 weeks, whatever it is, and it's comes with the reliable frequency and the reliable amount, that will change if you leave corporate and do something on your own. So it's important to understand that your relationship to money is very important in this lifestyle, because you don't want to be in constant anxiety. So taking the time to understand that and find your flow with money is important, because otherwise you're just going to be constantly worried about money, and that's going to dig into your enjoyment of the lifestyle. On that note, to do this, you have to track your expenses every day to stay within budget. And you know what? Sometimes it gets really annoying to have to write down every darn expense. It does. But that is an essential part of living this lifestyle and affording it. Now, there is also a great inward journey. So you're going to learn who you are when you have things that go awry. Plans don't go as you planned. You can't get your favorite foods. You go over budget. You get marooned someplace during a pandemic. So if you are running away from parts of yourself you don't like, they will catch up with you. So that is why this lifestyle is not ideal for someone running away, because whatever the circumstance is, you will unfortunately unconsciously recreate it, and you're going to have to deal with it anyway. It is a better lifestyle for someone running towards something. But if you're willing to do that personal work, then this is an ideal lifestyle, because it really is sort of like an adult vision quest, especially if you're doing it solo. Now, if you are solo and looking for love, I will say romance is hard. If you are moving about all the time and your partner doesn't want to, that's another kind of hardship, right? But looking for, someone long term while you're traveling full time is definitely a challenge. You will meet great people. I have met lots of great men as I've traveled, but finding someone that's sort of a long-term person is not so easy when you're traveling full time. You may have long conversations with immigration officers as you travel. I think the nomad lifestyle has caught on more than when I started, so it's a little bit more of a mainstream idea. But I have had immigration officers raise an eyebrow, especially when I've bought a one-way ticket, and I've known that, at the destination point, I might have a problem with immigration, but sometimes at the, leaving from my first port, they are curious why I don't have a return ticket. So, like I said, you may have some long conversations with immigration officers. I remember when I went to Scotland back in 2018, I landed. I'm like, oh my God, there were still landing cards, and I had to fill out like, what's your occupation? I'm like, oh my God, what is my occupation? I don't know. And I think I put like traveler or something, and the immigration officer raised an eyebrow and asked me tons of questions. And I think, I'm like, oh, I like quit my job and I'm, whatever. And then I think eventually she realized I might be crazy, but I wasn't a danger to the people. And then she gave me advice on where to go in Scotland. So, just be ready. That might happen. Now, the other thing is I mentioned before about the friends and how your relationships are going to change, and then you'll have new friends and say goodbye to friends. But the friendships that may change are especially with the friends and loved ones who don't understand your lifestyle. And I mentioned in a previous episode, which you may want to listen to, how do you deal with some of the naysayers like these? And so now you've lived your lifestyle, even though you had these naysayers, and now that relationship changes, right? And in some respects, maybe you're inspiring some of them, which is great. So that's one kind of friendship, and it may expand from there. And then other ones really don't get it. And that friendship may just become more distant. So be ready for that. Another thing to be ready for is, as you're making plans to go, you've got to deal with all your stuff. So the downsizing that you need to do, really hard. And if you have emotional attachment to things, then it becomes harder still. Do you keep the stuff, put it in storage? Do you get rid of the stuff? I will say I put things in storage because I really thought I was going out for like 6 months or a year and then coming back, getting a job, and then taking everything out of storage and putting it back in my apartment or a different apartment. But I didn't, right? So then you have to measure, like, is it worth having a storage unit? And especially if you know that you're traveling indefinitely, that's one thing. But if you think you're doing it shorter term, then this becomes a whole decision that you have to make. And downsizing, like I said, it isn't fun, figuring out what to keep, what not to keep, where to put it, all those things. So this is an idea of many of the things that you're going to have to put up with if you choose this lifestyle. There are certainly other things, but I wanted to keep this, to a reasonable length of time. At this point, if these things have not talked you out of the lifestyle, then stay tuned because it gets better from here. If any of these things have made you doubt whether the lifestyle is for you, I suggest you strongly look into those things and really think about it, because these are the realities of the travel lifestyle. It is not rainbows and unicorns every day. It's just not. Some days are, but just be ready. So if these, like I said, if none of these, if you're still here thinking, oh my God, hell yes, I'm in anyway, then great, because there's more to come. Next week, I'm going to talk about some of the amazing parts of this lifestyle and why you should do it. So stay tuned. Have a great week. I will talk to you next week. And remember, please leave us a review if you like the show. Thanks so much for listening to the How to Travel Full-Time podcast. If you loved it, please leave a review and let us know. Make sure to subscribe to get the latest episodes. Check out the show notes for important resources related to this episode, and come visit us at travellifestylecoach.com to learn more great information. If you're ready to get started with the lifestyle, go to moneyfortravelbootcamp.com, where you can learn all the strategies to afford this amazing lifestyle. Talk to you next week.